Yes, yes, yes. It's the Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And today we're looking at the latest breaking news. Bill Haney has been granted an 11th hour approval for a travel visa to Australia. Okay, so as we know, Australia denied Bill Haney access to their country, access to train his son in a lightweight championship fight, unification fight against Kambososhaney, the Greek Australian. Okay, so Haney has got a conviction served over 30 years ago, 3 decades, and as such, it was for a crime that saw him spend more than 12 months in the can. And as Australia rules, immigration rules, or whatever visitor rules dictate, he couldn't get in. Even though it was a work visa, didn't want to stay there. The conviction was over 30 years ago. Like I said, for which he served more than a year in jail. And Australian visa rule that a felon who served over 12 months or more are ineligible to qualify for an ETA, Electronic Travel Authority, or e-visitor, a visa required for short-term visits. Okay, so Haney had stated in advance his past criminal records in hope of avoiding the scenario, though the matter remained unresolved until late Thursday, Pacific time. So, long story short, means that Bill Haney gets in at the very last moment. He'll have what? How many hours will he have before he's cornering Haney? How many hours will he have with him? Will this make any difference or just add to the confusion? We don't know. That remains to be seen. Okay, well, at least he's there. So we'll see how that goes down. And still pertaining to Haney, his cut man, Bob Ware, has been detained at Melbourne Airport due to a visa application discrepancy. Okay, so it's good news on the one hand and bad on the other. Okay, so Bob Ware, Haney's cutman, has been detained at Melbourne International Airport upon arrival on Friday morning. Okay, authorities claim that Ware failed to disclose a conviction on his original Electronic Travel Authority visa application. Okay, so so Ware is currently under supervision of the Australian Border Force, Melbourne Immigration Transit Accommodation, the detention centre, which is located 30 minutes north of the Marvel Stadium, where Las Vegas' Haney defends his WBC lightweight title against Georgekambosos this Sunday, local time. Okay, so what else do we want to read about this? You must not have any criminal convictions for which you have been sentenced for a total combined period of 12 months or more. Okay, so clearly Ware must have had some conviction that lasted 12 months or more, which he did not declare. Okay, so what's the solution to this problem? What's the solution to the problem of boxers having trouble getting their coaching staff into Australia? What's the solution? And I think the solution, I think the solution is very clear and very obvious. You can't have any more boxing matches, top-ranking boxing matches in Australia, because boxing is it's almost like it's a sport from the streets. It's a sport for the poor man. It's not like lacrosse. You know, if you think about lacrosse, it's a different catchment group. It's not like tennis. Once again, a different catchment group. You know, those are games predominantly played by the middle classes. What else? What else would you say? Croquet. What is croquet? The horseback stuff. Yeah. Once again, you don't have that game played on the council estates. That's for the different class, a different income bracket of competitor. But boxing is from the street. Yeah, that's where it started, at street level, working class level. And a lot of these cats who participate in boxing, a lot of them, yeah, they've had brushes with the law in their earlier years, served their time. In Bill Haney's instance, 3 decades ago, and yet still, Australia's laws, immigration laws, visitor laws, it doesn't take into account these stories, and sets out to penalize the fighter because their father, their uncle, their cutman, their trainer got into a scrape, and there was 20, something like that, and the Australia visiting laws don't take into account sports, street level sports played by the working classes, the roughnecks who get into scrapes, typically get into scrapes in their youth, and if they're wise, they grow out of it, they leave the wild style behind, and they move on, and they progress, and they move up the ladder, just like Bill Haney has, and provides well for their family. But Australia doesn't take that into account. So the only solution I can find, the only solution I can see, is that boxing has to boycott Australia. Boxing has to boycott Australia, because with this kind of rigmarole, when you can't even get your trainer in the country, that's totally unacceptable. Not even for a visitor's pass, not like that anybody wants to stay there. They just want to do their job and get the hell on up out of there. But it's clear that Australian visitors' rules don't account for this. So, quite simply, top level boxing has to boycott Australia. It just can't work. We can't have this again. We can't have this repeated or replicated. To stay away from Australia. Fights cannot be made there under these draconian conditions. Okay, so that's what I've got to say. What do you got to say? It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it is the hitting the bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. Don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio, and we are out.